It feels amazing to have voted for Action South Africa for the first time.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to Chris Wyatt Reports. Normally, a by-election wouldn't get a whole lot of attention, but this is an interesting one. Events unfolded today, the 4th of May, 2022 in Tswane, or Pretoria, as most of the world knows the city, in Ward 96, which is located just north of the city center. And why did this come to our attention? Well, there's some strange things happening here. First off, there are defections from the Democratic Alliance to ActionSA. That's Herman Mashaba's party, which he formed well over a year ago. And these folks have left the party, and it's created an unusual situation. But that's not what this report is about.
I resigned from the Democratic Alliance in solidarity with Hannes Coetzee as a resident of Ward 96.
We're going to have to see if we can get a hold of ActionSA to get their comment on this. But in the meantime, let me just talk about this. Michael Shackleton, who's a practicing attorney, a former member of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, and a former member of Parliament at the national level, has a master's in constitutional law, and he's now an ActionSA member. This is from his Twitter account. Now, Shackleton, who until late April was the DA's Tswane deputy chairperson and a former member of the National Assembly, said he was leaving the party because it had lost touch with its grassroots. His resignation came just a month after the defection of Democratic Alliance council member Hannes Coetzee, who also quit the DA for ActionSA and hopes to retain the seat that he was sitting in the by-election that took place on the 4th of May, 2022 for Ward 96. Ward 96 is a largely Afrikaans-speaking area with a predominantly white resident population. Only one other area in the polling district of this ward has previously shown any strength for any support for another party, and that would be for the African National Congress. You think this might be a difficult haul here because ActionSA won just 11% of this award in the 2021 municipal elections back on the 1st of November. The DA won it outright with Hannes Coetzee. So it would seem to be a high hurdle to clear, except that Alderman Hannes Coetzee, the ActionSA candidate, has just defected from the Democratic Alliance. So he left the party. As I said, the by-election is necessary because Coetzee resigned his DA seat to cross over to the ActionSA party, where he instantly became the party's candidate for the by-election, which he just made necessary. Talk about fox in the hen house. The guy had the seat and he resigned to join another party, and he's the front runner. Now, Biz News claims that the DA is vulnerable because residents are fed up with the stench coming from the Ruval sewage plant here in the ward. But if that's true, why would Coetzee skate scot-free? After all, given just a few days ago, he was the face of the Democratic Alliance in this ward. So why would the DA be at risk unless perhaps they have a less desirable candidate, or Hannes Coetzee happens to be very popular in the ward? Now, Shackleton, that's what the story is about, has raised eyebrows today after posting a since-deleted tweet about having just voted in Ward 96 by-election.
It is really a privilege to be able to have voted at the very first by-election in the history of Action South Africa.
He was immediately taken to task by folks, including the Democratic Alliance's Leon Schreiber, for having never voted in the ward. So the stink here is that Shackleton lied and deceived the voting public. Now, this is not a good look for the young ActionSA party of Herman Mashaba. Shackleton is a former member of Parliament and a practicing attorney. How can someone so well-informed blatantly lie and mislead people about an election? If in fact he is lying, which it seems increasingly may be the case, ActionSA will need to take prompt action, no pun intended there, but they'll need to take prompt action in South Africa, ActionSA. Now, you see these tweets from people. Shackleton did not cast his vote because he's not on the voters roll. This is not normal behavior, ActionSA, say other Twitter users. Where did he vote? Twitter users ask. There's no ink mark on his thumb. Now, Schreiber quotes the Electoral Act to show that Shackleton has, in fact, violated the law. We're not sure what the situation here is, but the following is true. It's a bizarre situation in which people are eating their own. Instead of uniting against the African National Congress, which has led South Africa into destruction through its racketeering and its criminal practices and its complete negligence of South Africans, especially Black South Africans, these opposition parties are eating each other alive. These defections from the Democratic Alliance to the ActionSA party are not helping anybody. Now, I'm arguing people should not leave one party and go to another, but the claims that are made, Shackleton says he left the party because basically it wasn't multiracial, which is odd given that the majority of people who vote for the Democratic Alliance are people of color. So anyway.
I truly believe that Action South Africa is the multiracial future of South Africa.
Well, there you have it, folks. A strange unfolding situation in which a former member of parliament and the provincial legislature and the deputy chair in the Gauteng province for the Democratic Alliance jumped ship just a few days ago, claims he went and voted in a by-election, and he's called out immediately saying, you didn't vote, you're not even on the rolls. Where does the truth lie? What will ActionSA say? What will they do if, in fact, Mr. Shackleton is lying? Those actions will determine what happens to ActionSA going forward, whether it continues to gain popularity and voters, or it takes a hit for the illegitimate actions of one of its members. Folks, if you're not subscribed to Chris Wyatt Africa, why don't you become one, smash that button right down there and join us here for independent journalism and objective reporting on events across the world with a focus on Africa and especially in Southern Africa. Thanks a lot for your time. God bless and have a lovely day.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.